We also got to talk about, you don't have to stress about this, but I do want to mention it, is that there is an important concept in Tag Manager called the data layer. So what that is, it's super advanced, so don't stress about it, but I do want to touch on it. It's basically, there's a little bit of code that's collecting all this information, and that's called the data layer. So the data layer will have it there, and then it decides based on what you've told it to or what the tags are supposed to do, where information's going. Like Google Analytics, right? It's going to be capturing information about how long people are on the page, where did they click, information about that click. And we'll cover that a little bit more. But basically, it's gathering all this information. And you can do some really advanced and cool stuff. We're not going to stress about that because that's super advanced. I don't even really use it like that. And so the other one is remarketing, retargeting. And so that is ways that we can capture bits of information about people that we can then advertise to them later on. So this is going to be people who, when you're at an online store, if you click to checkout but you didn't complete the purchase, well, I'd like to remarket to you to go, hey, maybe a discount code will convince someone to go through and complete the purchase. So this is a way to re-engage, and Tag Manager is a really useful way to set up all these audiences of that you can remarket to. Okay, and then this is the kind of a visualization about how that data layer works. And so what we have is your website, and it's going to collect the data, goes into this little layer here, and then it goes to Tag Manager, and then Tag Manager sends it back to whatever platform it's supposed to go to, whether it's Google Ads, Facebook Ads, Google Analytics, whatever the tag that's capturing that information and processing it, it sends it back to that. So what are the big reasons for using this? One of the big ones we'll cover is version control, which is honestly, it's so useful to have. And then we also got the debugger, and then also having all in one central location means it's a lot easier for you as a marketer to keep an eye on where all these tags are. So version control, it's something from software. It's basically what it does is it tells you a snapshot of the changes that were made to your tag manager and who made them and when they made them. So what this is really helpful for is, say something breaks, then you can go, okay, we knew that last version was working. What's changed in this new version? And you could see the differences and see who did it. So then we could go, okay, so next time don't deploy this because of this reason, or don't do that because that broke it. So it gives you a way to check things and see different versions to see if something does break, that you can see where along that path it broke. And then it's got an excellent debugger, especially with Google Analytics 4, which we will go into in the, I think, the co-working we're doing. And then I'm going to go through that a little bit more. We can see whether these tags are working, and you could really get a good feel on what information you're collecting and is it doing the right things when you're expecting them. It's really useful. Also, it's also your way of seeing what goes into the data layer. And so that's really useful that if you are doing these super advanced things, that you are collecting that information. And then the last one, yeah, like I said, it's a really good no code solution, meaning that it's just a platform that you can click, fill in a couple spots, and then deploy the tag. You don't even have to think about code. It also enables you can do sequencing as well. That's another option in there. So say you need something to collect for remarketing audience, but before they click on a button, then you can sequence these things to make sure that it's firing in a specific pattern if you're not getting the information that you're expecting. And also, because it's centralized, you can do some really fun deployments. So you can say you have like a PDF giveaway that's for how to set up event tracking with Google Tag Manager, a giveaway. And I want this to show up only on my blog posts that mention Tag Manager. So what I could do is say that if there's a page like why Google Tag Manager is awesome, but I also have another one saying 5 tips for using Google Tag Manager. What you can do is say if the page URL contains Tag Manager Fire. So that gives us a lot of flexibility as well. And you can also do stuff with thank you pages. If you've got multiple thank you pages, you can make it as specific or as generic as you would like as well. So it gives you a lot of flexibility for how to deploy these tags. And we'll go into that a little bit more when you see. once we get into the platform. Yeah, like it can be complex, and it also helps you with doing a little bit of software like programming logic, because it is very much, if this happens then do this, which is pretty much the core about everything about coding revolves around that concept. So again, it also saves you a bunch of time. If you had to do it the old school way, you would actually have to get a web developer to implement all the code and fire these tags when this happens. And it's just a lot of headache. Whereas now it's installed once, you just go into the platform. I want to track this and I want this to fire when that gets clicked on. And then boom, you're off to the races.